Hey guys, it's Damaged Soul. Welcome back to another tutorial. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make your very own custom Twitch/stream alerts. By doing that, you want to first open up Photoshop, and once you have Photoshop open, you want to have the same document size and resolution as I do here, and hit create once you do so. Now this white screen is going to represent the size of your gameplay that you're going to be putting out to the viewers. So what you want to do first is you're going to want to hit a new layer, and you're going to want to grab your rectangular marquee tool that I have selected right here in this top right corner of my tools, and you're going to want to make the size of your alert. That's what we're doing with this tool right now. Now obviously you don't want one this big popping up on your screen and covering your gameplay or whatever you're streaming, whatever it may be. So with that being said, let's make one that would be a good size for the window that you're streaming out at, right? So now I would say roughly having an alert pop up on your screen about that big, that's way more than enough. Now you're going to want to hit Alt Backspace, and that's going to fill the box with your foreground color like I have over here. And then once you do that, you're going to want to grab it with your Move tool, and you're going to want to just bring it to the center of your page. Go back to your marquee tool, right click and hit deselect, and then hit C on your keyboard, and this is going to crop your document size to the size of the alert box. So you don't have to bring it right to the exact size, just roughly. And on this left hand side over here, you're going to want to leave a little bit of playroom, because on this left hand side we're going to have our logo. And then you're going to want to bring that one closer in. Okay? Actually, we'll bring it out like that. Alright, so once you're done that, cropping the document size, you're going to hit the check mark up here. And now that's going to leave us with a document a lot smaller than what it would have been at doing it at 1920 by 1080. And that comes in handy later on when you want to make this into a GIF, which is what we need to do in order to make this animation popping up over your stream with your donation, your subscribers, and everything like that. So now this orange box, or whatever color box you have there, that's useless. Now you can delete that actually if you want to. So select that layer, delete it, and now we're left with our document size of the perfect size box for our alert. So now you can zoom in a bit to work on this. And now you're going to want to grab your pen tool. With your pen tool selected, you're going to want to create the size or the shape of your alert box. Now you can copy the same one I do here, or you can just get creative and make your own shape or whatnot. It doesn't really matter. But if this video also hits 200 likes, I will put this whole entire file for download in the description down below, and you can download it instead of having to create it yourself. But hey, I think creating it yourself is a lot better. You learn a lot about the programs and everything like that, but to each of their own. So let's get right back to this. So now I'm going to create the size of my alert box. Now you're going to want to click a point, and you're going to want to hold down shift so it gives you a perfect 45 or a perfect straight line, whatever. Because if you don't hold down shift, you'll get a weird line like all jagged like that, and you don't want that. Also turn your stroke off up here, and now I'm going to hold shift and get a straight line like that, and then I'm going to hold shift again, and then I'm going to get a nice little 45, and then I'm going to hold shift again down here, and then I'm going to hold shift again. Well, I would prefer it to not be there we go, that's good. And then I'm going to come down here, we're going to do another little 45, and then I'm going to come into here, and we're going to bring it down here. Now this line doesn't matter so much if it's perfectly straight. It can be a little jagged, because on this left hand side we're going to have our logo covering it, so no one's going to see this line right here. As long as all the rest of the project is perfectly straight lines, you won't have any jaggedness to it, and it won't look like shit. So now with that, we're going to fill this shape in with just a solid color. We'll fill it in with black for now, and we will move it to the center of the box, just so that way it's more aligned. Now that looks perfect. Now you're going to want to grab your logo or your letters that represent your company name, whatever you have. Now this is my logo, and I'm going to drag this over into the document that we're working on, and I'm going to hit Control T to resize it. We're going to zoom back out. I'm going to bring it down in size, drag it over here. We'll zoom back in. That way we can just size it up properly. Now, I think that looks pretty good, actually. Yeah, that looks good to me. Okay, so now we got our logo on here. And like I said, see, now it's covering that line, no one can see it, and now all you have left is your box with all the perfect straight lines, so it looks perfect. Alright, so actually I want to move that in just a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to add a couple little bars just to give a little bit of accents to this alert box, or else it would sort of be kind of dull just as a box like this. But before we do that, I'm going to add a texture and a gradient to this first black box that we've already made. So first we're going to want to grab a texture. It can be any texture of your liking. I just like this texture here. And you're going to want to drop it onto the photo. Once you have it dropped onto the photo, you're going to hit Control T. Oh shit, sorry guys, hit Control T, and you're going to drag it down in size. And you're going to right click, or first you're going to hit the check mark, you're going to right click and hit Create Clipping Mask. And now you see how it made a clipping mask to the shape that we've made, which looks perfect. Okay, and then we are going to duplicate this layer and hit OK. And then we will bring this over to here, line it up. There, that looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks good to me. Now we're gonna merge these layers so it just becomes one layer. And now if we put a gradient on this shape like this, I'll show you, give me 1 second here. We're going to hit gradient, and this is the gradient I like to use. It's pure black on this side, and over here on this side, this is the hex code for it if you want to use the same code. You can even bring it down just a little bit more, which actually looks really nice too. There we go. And bring this back just a little bit. No, I don't know why it keeps doing that. I don't want it like that. Alright, so there we go. That looks good. I like that. Alright, now before we finish with this shape, let's put a little stroke around the outside. Now you don't want that big of a stroke. Like 2 would probably be good. We'll go with 3. Okay, 3 looks good. Alright, so now we got our box made and our logo there. And now we're going to put some little bars on the outside just to give it a little bit of accent. So by doing that, we are going to click here on our background. And you are going to go like so. Like so. You're going to turn this off and fill the color. Now you can move it around, adjust the height on it if you want. I like the red there, that looks pretty cool. Alright, now we'll do the same thing for the bottom. We'll click here. Remember, don't forget to hold Shift. Move back to your movement tool. Mess around with it, be creative, do whatever you think looks nice. You know, it doesn't have to exactly match what I'm doing here. You can do whatever you would like. There we go, that's better. Alright, now that looks cool. Now we'll go here. I want to put a little stroke on the outside of that. And we're going to make that stroke 2. Move it in just a little bit more. This one I don't want it to be as popped out. There we go. Now copy layer style. Paste the layer style to the other 2 red shapes. Now there you go. Now we basically made our alert box. Other than that, there really isn't much to it. Now, before we move this into After Effects and animate it and this and that, we are going to want to label all our layers, because if you don't label them, then when you bring it into After Effects, it's just a big pain in the ass, and trust me, you don't want that. Okay, so let's do that right now. We'll label them. G. What bar is this here? Our top bar. Okay, top bar. What is this here? Bottom bar. Sidebar. Our box. And now these two layers right here, we can merge those. So let's actually rename that. Alert box. That sounds good. And then we'll rename this our logo. Okay, so now that we got all these named, really we don't really need the background on, because you want your alert to have no background, because if it had this white background, then you obviously ain't going to see anything. So it doesn't matter right now. You can leave it on until we get into After Effects, and you can delete it then. It doesn't really matter. Am I happy with this right now? I'd say so. The only thing that I would like to do is add another gradient overlay on here. Yeah, I think that looks good. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, I think that looks pretty neat. I don't really want to do anything else with it. Actually, you know what? One more thing we'll do here. I want to do a little accent here. We'll hold shift, perfect. Let's make this a red line for now. There we go. Now that looks perfect. Yeah, that looks cool. You know what? I might even do one on the top right here. Alright. Actually, nope, I don't like the one on the top. The one on the top, no. I like the one on the bottom, and that's it. So we're going to rename that strip. Alright, so now that we got all this labeled, everything's ready to go, before we do anything else, you're going to want to rasterize every layer. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to screw around with it once we get it over into After Effects. So make sure you rasterize everything. Alright, so everything is rasterized, everything's good to go. Now all we have to do is hit File, Save. Alright, so now that you have your file saved in your Photoshop down into your desktop, or save it to a place that you know that you're going to be able to find it, you're going to want to open up After Effects, and before making a composition, you're going to want to hit New, or right click right here and hit Import, and go to File. And you're going to want to click on Desktop, and you are going to want to click on your PSD file, the alert box, and hit Import. Now this is important. Where it says Import Kind, you want to make sure that it says Composition Retain Layer Sizes. You don't want to say Composition or Footage. You want this one. Also, you want to say Editable Layer Styles. You don't want it to be Merge Layers, or it'll just merge all those layers that we just labeled in the Photoshop into one, and you won't be able to edit everything separately. So everything we just did would have been pointless. So make sure you have these exact settings before hitting OK. Hit OK, and then double click on the composition, and it'll bring up all the layers that you had to begin with. Now, if you turn off your background layer and you hit your transparency grid, it will show you that your background has no background now. It's just transparent. And you can actually hit the background here on this layer and just completely delete it. You don't need it. Now, the top bar, you can move it down, or you can adjust them. You can do whatever you want, because actually I didn't like how much they were showing. I sort of like it more sleeker look like that. That looks a lot better. Okay. So now that we got that, we're going to start editing it. So to do so, we are going to want to grab our bottom bar, our sidebar, our alert box, and our top bar, and our strip. Actually, wait a second. There we go. We'll move that like that. That way we can just select them all like that. And we're going to want to hit P on the keyboard. And you are going to want to, actually before we even get started, right click on your alert box here and go to composition settings. And you are going to want to go from make your duration. This would be 2 minutes. You don't want that. You want it to be 10 seconds long. That's how long alert is on Twitch and in OBS and on Streamlabs, all those platforms. So you want it to be 10 seconds here, or else it's going to cut your animation off, and I don't know, it just looks like crap. So make sure you do it 10 seconds long and hit OK. So there you go. Oh, 1 minute. Was that 30 frames per second? Yep, 30 frames per second as well. Alright, so now that we have that, we have our 10 seconds here now. And you are going to want to move up to 1 second. And now that we have our P here, and we have all our layers select, you're going to want to put a keyframe on this position. And you are going to want to move back to 0 seconds. And grab this and hold Shift and drag down. Now, what this is allowing this to do is to slide upwards. Now I know it looks kind of mechanical right now, and we will ease it where it gives it more motion, more like fluid motion than just such mechanical motion. Okay, but first of all, let's just get everything coming into the scene properly. And then you're going to want to click on your logo. You're going to want to hit P, and you're going to want to also go to, I'd say, let's see for a second. We'll hit P here. We'll come back to here. And we are going to grab this and hold Shift and drag this way. That way. Now let's redo it now that it's rendered in. Okay, I like that. That looks pretty cool. Alright, so if we select all our keyframes and go to Keyframe Assist and go to Easy Ease, this makes it a lot better. It'll be able to allow us to add more fluid motion to all these, which we will do. Just give me a minute. Yeah, that looks better. And before we do any motion, we're going to go down to this side, and you're going to go to 9 seconds, and you're going to select your logo, and you are going to hit this button right here to add another keyframe for its position, and you're going to go to 10 seconds, and we are going to drag it back out of the screen. So you're going to click, hold Shift, and drag it back out of the screen. So now it'll enter the screen and leave the scene at 10 seconds, which is what we want. And now we want to do the same thing with our strip, all these ones. So we're going to go to the same thing, 9 seconds here. We're going to hit this little button here to keyframe all the positions, move back over to 10 seconds. You're going to right click, you're going to hold Shift and drag down till it's off the screen there. And now, once it's loaded in, let it render in for a second, and it'll play at speed. Here we go. So now you'll have your writing popping up over these next few seconds, and then it will leave the scene. Now, also, we are going to turn this logo into a 3D layer because I want it to have some rotation as it's coming into the view here. So, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the logo, and you are going to hit this toggle switch down here, and this box will turn this layer into a 3D layer, which will give us an X, Y, and a Z. There we go. So, as it's coming in, or here we go, we'll go on these, make sure they're all keyframed to position, and we're going to go here to the Y, and you're going to give it 1 full turn. Now also, actually, you know what? Let's get rid of that. Let's see what it looks like. just with the flip. Okay, yeah, that looks better. Okay, so yeah, I like that better right there. Alright, so once you have those all keyframed into whatever type of rotation you like of it swooping into your scene, do the same thing. Go to keyframe assist, go to easy ease, make sure they're all easy eased. Now I'm pretty sure if you highlight them, 1 minute, I just want to check something here. Maybe not. I could have sworn there was a way to flip it around. Oh yeah, look at time reverse keyframes. So if you were to hit edit, copy, and then go over to here and hit edit, paste, and then right click and go to keyframe assist and hit time reverse. I wonder, oh yeah, it does too. That's cool. Alright, so then that way you don't even need to do these. You can always just time reverse it. That makes it so much better. Okay, so there we go. We got that. Your stuff's going to show up. Your writing telling you who subscribed, donated, yada yada yada. Once that's done, everything swoops out of the scene. Alright. So, only thing I don't see. There we go. I think I like that better. It's mainly just tweaking settings and keyframes until you get exactly what you like, right? I'm just going to give you the basics. So that way you can go from there. You know what I mean? So 1 minute here. Let's see how this looks. Alright, so there we go. So now it's time to add all of our graph editing here just to give everything more of a fluid motion since it sort of looks mechanical. Okay, so now that we got these selected, click on your graph editor here and you are going to want to click right here. Or 1 sec, before we do that, select all of them. Make sure you select all of them and drag them all in like that. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it come in really fast and slow down. I like that better. And we're going to do the same thing for over here. We're going to make it leave really fast, but look like it's slowing down. So it'll start out slow as it's leaving and then speed up, I guess. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, see, we're going to want that to be the opposite. So 1 second, now select all this on the side and bring it up, and this will make it leave and then slow down as it's leaving. So like I said, it's just tweaking around with the settings and everything like that. That looks better. Okay, so we'll do the same thing with our logo. Drag that in, and we will drag that in just a bit there, just to give a little bit of different motion. And we are also going to open this up, and we are going to come here and just do about that motion. Yeah, there we go. That looks better. So now we should have some cool motion going on. I really like the way that's flowing in. It looks a lot better than just that mechanical look that we had from the starting there. Now the only thing is, I feel like that bar, all these, we can get out of our graph editor, and we will select this, and this, and this, and this, and we are going to actually just select these and drag them in, like this. So once you get all this set up, it's the fun part where you can add all your effects to the bar and like you'll see what I mean in 1 minute. Okay, so I'm good with that right now. If it was mine, and I would spend a little bit more time on it, trying to give it a little bit, I don't know, different motion if I really wanted to sit there and screw around with it. But this is just for tutorial sake, so if you want to sit there and really screw around with it to make yours look unique, then go right ahead and do it. Nothing's stopping you. Now for this part here of your logo, we're going to want like a light sweep across this. So if you hold, now I have this little plugin on my After Effects that you can download it from Video Copilot for free, where if you hold Control and Shift, a little bar will come up where I can just type in what I want as an effect, opposed to going over here in the Effects and Presets tab and typing it in, finding it, and then see how long that would take, where instead all I had to do was hit Control Shift or Control Space. It's a lot faster. You don't need it to do these effects. It's a faster plugin if you would like to try it. It's free, like I said, to download at Video Copilot, so feel free to try it out. Now, 1 second here. Okay, so I want this to be a thin line, and I want it to be linear. There we go, that looks cool. Now, this gets into the screen at this second here. Okey-doke. So you can hit U to see where your keyframes are, to see where it enters your scene and stops moving. And you are going to want to keyframe the center right here. And we're going to keep that there. And we are going to move ahead a little bit in time, and we are going to drag this across your whole entire logo. And then you're going to move a little bit ahead of time again, and you're going to drag this across your logo. And then we're going to come over to here, and you're going to do the same thing. Just before it leaves, you're going to drag it across, drag it across, and you can drag it across one more time before it leaves. So now, what that did is it adds that glare zipping across your screen. Now, the reason why that one went slow is, give me 1 second here, and I will show you. So instead, if you delete these 3 here, and now come to here, and you are going to want to hit this, so that way it stays off the screen until you want it to come back on. And then locate your center again, just like we just did. Drag it back across, drag it back across, and then now you won't have that slow glare going by like we just did beforehand. That'll just solve it. So there you go. Now it's gone. Now you'll have just those fast sweeps going across. Now also, if you don't like how thin the line is or how bright it is, or if you want it brighter, you can brighten it up like that. You can also change the width. You can change the color to any color you like. It doesn't have to be white, it can be any color. Which, actually that color looks pretty cool too. But at the same time, I really like just how the white looks as it's going across the colors there. It looks really neat. Okay. Yeah, that looks cool. Alright, I'm cool with that. Alright. So there we go. Now we are going to do the same thing with some other stuff here. I am also going to add some effects. So we're going to project, we're going to import, and we are going to go to here into my effects folder. Now let's see what this looks like. I can't even remember which ones I got. So let's open this up, transform. We're going to need to scale this down. So you can enter in any effects that you would like, right? So like you could have this. And that looks pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. That looks pretty neat. Now the only thing is, I'm going to move these ahead. That way you get still the glare in there. That looks pretty cool. I like that. That looks really neat actually. Now we can also import some other things here. Let's see what else we like. Let's see what this looks like. Oh yeah, this looked really cool too. This was another one I wanted to check out. So if you check this and we scale it down, and we keep this right here. And now we duplicate this layer, which is Control D, and we move it over to here, and we drag this over to here. Alright, so let's see how this looks here playing through. Yeah, it looks cool, but I sort of wish it was a little bit longer. I also have this AE Juice Pack Manager here that you can open up, and you can download this too. It's a free add-on, and it comes with a bunch of different types of things that you can use for like this. See, you can put all these on yours, and there's a lot of different ones that you can use. But other than that, those aren't ones that I would be using. I just figured I'd give you guys an idea. What other effects did I download here? I'm trying to remember. Was there anything else here? Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just trying to remember. What was this? I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, this was something I was going to put on the logo at the end. I forgot. Okay, so 1 minute here. Now these are all effects that you can download from Production Crate on the internet. We'll put the link in the description. If you guys want to use it, you guys can. It comes in handy when you want to do like cool effects like I'm doing right now. A lot of them are free to download. Like these ones I'm using right now are free to download. There's ones that you have to pay for as well, but these ones are free. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to make it like that. That way it does this cool spinny thing before my stuff leaves. That's cool. Alright. So now I want to get this electricity looking cool on here before we do anything else. I wish it played the opposite direction opposed to that direction. Alright, so let's see how that looks now. Yeah, it looks pretty cool with those lightning bolts coming across there like that. Alright, so let's get a full picture of how this is going to look. So see how like the possibilities are just endless? Like you can do so much stuff with it, it's unbelievable. And you don't need to necessarily like say how that's blue. You can change the way it looks. All you'd have to do is go into here, pause it. Look, see, now I can change that to red. Look at, bam, fixed. So now it matches my animation and my theme. It's as simple as that, is just tweaking the settings. Like I could do that the same thing with that those lightning bolts. They don't have to be purple, you know what I mean? I just haven't got around to doing it yet. Now, if we go to the same thing and add hue and saturation to this, I guess really adding that to that doesn't really make that big of a difference. It's too hard to see it, really. Alright, so let's see how that looks now, fully done. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Now, before we do that, we can select all these lightning layers here and hit pre-compose, move all attributes, select lightning, so there we go, it's all in one file, it's just more clean looking. And then we can also Control D, duplicate that, and move that somewhere like up here. Offset the time a bit, and let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks cool to me. Bam. And then we can duplicate all these layers as I'm doing here. And at least this just gives us some more motion with our alert. I think this looks pretty cool. Yep, I think that looks dope. Okay, so now, once you're done this, you're going to want to render this out. So in order to do that though, you're going to want to go to File, Export, Add to Render Queue, and your render settings here, it's fine just leaving it at what it's at. Everything's perfect right here. Hit OK, and this is where you want to mess around. Now instead of AVI, you want it to say PNG sequence. And instead of channels RGB, you want it to say RGB and alpha. You probably don't need it to say RGB and alpha, but I just always do that just to be safe. and hit OK. And you are going to want to pick a spot to save it, which I'm going to save it right here. We're going to call it alert box. Hit save, and then what we're going to do is render it out. Am I good with all that being the way it is? Yeah, I'm good. Okay, so now we're going to hit render. We're going to wait for it to render. Perfect. And now we're going to go back to Photoshop here. And we are going to close this. We don't need it anymore. We're going to close that, and we can leave this open for now. And we are going to close down these right now, and we are going to have our alert. And here's all of our pictures for our whole animation, which is 299. Alright, so now you see how these first few ones are completely black? Now, you don't want to use those ones. You can use it to create the document size. If you grab it and drag it up to this part right here, you'll see it say copy, and let it go, and it'll create the exact same document size that you need. And then if you do that, and you go to, I'm pretty sure, yeah, layer, video layer, and new video layer from file, and you click on alerts, the alert box, and you go to the very first one that's clear, not this black box, or else you'll have the black background, and you don't want that. If you go to this very first one that's clear and hit open, and then go to window and go to timeline and hit space, you will get your animation. Now, if you do that, what is this layer here? Layer 2. Alright, so there we go. Now, in order to put it into your Streamlabs or whatever you use to do that, we are going to go to File, Export, Export, Save for Web. And you are going to want to copy the exact same settings that I use here, okay? Now you're going to want it to have GIF, Selective, Diffusion, Transparency, Colors 256, 88% dither. Works the best. Or you know what? Maybe not. Alright, we'll go with 90. 90's good. And you are going to want to save it. You're going to want to name it alert. Hit save. Alright, perfect. So now that we have that, okay, so once you get into your Streamlabs, you're going to want to go down to your alert box here, and you are going to want to also open up 2 windows and have them both open. Just so that way you can see what the test looks like when you test it. That way you know everything's lining up and you don't got to keep clicking back from screen to screen. So here, where you're going to go to donation here. So we'll go to donations. Okay, now here, this was one that I had from before. And you're going to start at the top, just so you know, you're going to want to hit donation alerts enabled. You'll do the same thing for subscribers, members, super chat, merch, all that stuff, okay? Now your layout, you're going to want to make sure that it's on this one exactly like this. Now the same thing with this, you can have your alert animation fade in, fade out, whatever, don't matter. Okay, now a minimum amount for the donation to pop up, I put as $1. Name donated amount, that's what's going to pop up, is the person's name, the donated, and then it'll put the amount that they have donated to you on this spot right here. For the text animation, I like pulse. Now you can also pick a sound. I have Pink Floyd, the money sound. Your alert duration, you're going to want to pick your alert duration to be 10 seconds. Your alert text delay. Now we'll mess around with this in a second. Let's get our new one uploaded into here. So if we come to our alerts and we click on alert and we hit open, it'll upload that GIF to this spot here. Just going to take a second. There we go. It's right here. Hit select. And there we go. Now we have our animation that we just made in our Streamlabs. And if you come down here and hit save, just so that way we can test it and just see what it looks like. The text probably will not line up at the moment, but we will fix that in a second. So 1 minute. Let's test the donation. Oh, shit. Here, 1 minute. Make sure you copy that and put that over here so that way you can see. Now look at that. How does that look? That looks perfect. Can't beat that. That just looks amazing. Everything is lining up. Everything is perfect. You're going to want to copy my settings. Now also, if you enable this, if say your text isn't lining up, right, and it's off-centered or whatever, you're going to want to enable this, go to your CSS, and you're going to want to go right here to your level 30, or your line 30, hit enter, and as you can see, I did that already. It's just keeping the same settings from my last one, that's why. So if you go to here, and you hit enter, and now you're going to type in this, margin dash left, colon, 14%, and then that at the end. Okay, so you'll have that written there, and that'll center out your text a lot more. You also, if your text is showing up before your animation, you just screw around with the alert duration and the alert text delay, and you will get it to come in at the right time and leave at the right time. It's just a little bit of messing around with the settings, and once you have everything set it up properly, you hit save settings, and you hit test donation, and you'll be able to see it work properly in this screen, which means it will definitely work properly in your streams. So if you have it fit in there perfect, you're good to go. And now if you go open up your OBS and you hit test donation, you'll have your donation pop up on the screen. And you can resize it to whatever you want. But there you go. At least you're good to go. Now you know it works. You know everything's good. And that's exactly what I wanted to show you guys. Now you guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I know it's been a little bit of a long one, but I hope this helps you guys create your own custom animations for your Twitch alerts and your YouTube alerts and whatnot. Other than that, I hope you guys had a good day. And remember, if this video hits 200 likes, I will put the download for the whole entire file in the description below, as well as all the effects that I use and this and that. Everything that I use in this video, I will put down in the description. With that being said, I hope everybody has a good day, and yeah, take it easy. Peace.